Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today. You are joining the RiverWoods Exeter 101 presentation, which we host each month. We find this is a great way for people to learn about the community, about our contract types, see some pictures of our community, and then decide if you may want to come and see us someday. My name is Lisa Clark. I am the sales manager here at RiverWoods Exeter, and I'm joined by Chrissy Cady, who's one of our senior living sales counselors. And between Chrissy and I, it's our role to really help you get educated on RiverWoods Exeter as a community to possibly consider for future residency. So, in the coming hour, we're going to be sharing a lot of information with you. There will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end, but we do encourage you to hold your questions until we get towards the end because we will be covering quite a bit of information. So a few housekeeping items first. We have everyone on mute, but again, we are going to have an opportunity for you to ask questions. And when we get to that point, you will want to submit your questions through the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. If you're on a tablet, it may be located towards the side of your screen or the top of your screen, but you're going to have some time to figure that out because we're going to be doing some talking for the next probably about 40 minutes. We always welcome suggestions on how we can improve these presentations. And if you have a topic idea for the future, please let us know because we would love to know what's important to you, what you're curious about, and we'd be happy to entertain that as a possible topic for the future presentation. So we're going to start by talking a little bit about the beginning of Riverwoods. These two women here are really the visionary founding women of Riverwoods. So this began as a dream of Mariana Hatch, who was living in Durham, and Rosemary Coffin, who lived in Exeter. And they began planning in the early 1980s to create a community where they could meet new friends, get involved in causes that they cared about, and stop worrying about their future healthcare needs. And at the time, there was really nothing in the Seacoast area that would provide those sort of services. So they created RiverWoods Exeter, which opened in 1994. And today, many, many years later, we not only have RiverWoods Exeter, but we have a community in Durham, New Hampshire, as well as one in Manchester, New Hampshire. So what began as a dream of a small group of New Hampshire women who wanted to create a better way of aging with others has now blossomed into three different communities, all with the same shared mission and values. And all three of these are advised by a volunteer board of operations. So we're going to be obviously focusing primarily on Exeter today, but I do like to take a minute and help you understand how the Riverwoods system works. So the three communities, aforementioned communities in Manchester, Durham, and Exeter, are governed by a CCRC board, and CCRC stands for a Continuing Care Retirement Community. So we have a board that governs our existing communities. They confer with our system CEO, who is a woman by the name of Justine Vogel. And she reports into another board of trustees that's really focused more on mission and future growth, whereas the CCRC board is focused more on operations. We are supported by the RiverWoods Group, which is kind of our parent entity that provides professional fee-based services and support to each community. So some of the functions that sit within the RiverWoods Group supporting our three communities include finance, information technology, human resources, marketing, and quality in terms of quality of healthcare. The group will also fund certain projects or portions of projects at the communities as well as new ventures. But it's important to note that each of our three Riverwoods communities are financially independent of one another, and each has an opportunity to provide additional funding to the Riverwoods group to help support new ventures. So let's focus on RiverWoods Exeter. So RiverWoods Exeter is comprised of three what we call campuses, but all are considered one community of RiverWoods Exeter. The original campus we opened in 1994 is called The Woods. We have 201 apartments at The Woods. 10 years later, we opened The Ridge, which has 81 apartments and 11 cottages. And then 6 years after that, we opened the Boulders, which has 75 apartments and 24 cottages. It's important to know when you are looking at communities, what kind of accreditation they may or may not have. We are happy to share that we are accredited as a not-for-profit continuing care retirement community by an organization known as CARF International. And CARF stands for the Commission for the Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. CARF is a nonprofit accreditor of health and human services worldwide, and only about 10% of continuing care retirement communities are actually accredited. We were one of the earliest to receive accreditation in 1999, and every 5 years we need to renew and reapply for accreditation. So we just did that in the fall of 2024 and became reaccredited for the next 5 years. If you'd like to learn more about CARF, you can go to their website, which is carf.org. And, their mission is really to ensure quality and value and optimal outcomes for those who are served by providers. So they have certain standards that they expect their member organizations to or their accredited organizations to comply with, as well as they're always looking for continuous improvement initiatives, which we're happy to report that we met all of their goals. So let's talk a little bit about life care. So you may hear these terms used interchangeably, either life care or continuing care, retirement community. And what these communities are they're really considered long-term care insurance. So when you move into Riverwoods, that's actually what you're paying for, is long-term care insurance. You'll move in while you're living independently. You will pay an entry fee when you move in, of which 90% is refunded back to your estate upon either moving out or your passing. So it does serve as a form of estate preservation in that we're holding that 90% of the entry fee to return to your estate. In addition, you will pay monthly fees when you live here, and those monthly fees are covering any level of health care while you're living at RiverWoods Exeter. So this is a feature of what's called a Type A CCRC contract. A Type A contract gives you unlimited access to assisted living or nursing care for life with no changes in your fees based on level of care. I should note that we do have annual price adjustments that track with inflation, but if you needed to go into healthcare on a temporary basis or a permanent basis, you would continue paying the same monthly fees that you did as if you were living in independent living. We provide quite a continuum of care here at RiverWoods. So we are resourced really to serve not only your current healthcare needs, but your future healthcare needs. We have wellness clinics in our independent living areas, which serve the independent residents. The wellness clinics are not replacing your primary care physician. You will still have a primary care physician, but the wellness clinic you can think of as sort of like an urgent care clinic. It's open Monday through Friday. They have walk-in hours or hours by appointment, and they can do things like help you monitor blood pressure, They can provide vaccinations. We do lab work there. They can help with referrals to specialists, as well as medication management. Their role also, however, is to kind of keep eyes on you and start to open up that conversation as to whether a transition from independent living to assisted living might be appropriate. So they do kind of look out for the residents' sort of long-term well-being while they're here as residents of Riverwoods. Beyond the wellness clinics, we have assisted living apartments for both singles and couples. And then we also have a level of care that we call enhanced assisted living. In some facilities, they might call this long-term care or nursing care. We call it enhanced assisted living. It's not an apartment, it's more like a private suite. We provide 24/7 nursing as well as memory support. We also are able to offer respite care to our residents. So we have some residents who are living in independent living who may come down with an illness and need just a little bit more support with hydration or meals and things like that. So we allow them to come into the healthcare lodge for a temporary stay until they're feeling well again. We also can offer respite care to spouses who may need a little bit more support if their partner, who may be providing more caregiving to them, needs to go away for a while, perhaps on a trip to see family. We can provide respite care to that partner. So all of this adds up to really providing some peace of mind for you as well as for your family, in that there's one place, one organization that's really accountable for your care journey, whether you're living in independent living or you need temporary or long-term healthcare support. So continuing on, talking about healthcare here at RiverWoods Exeter, we do have a medical director here who oversees the residents in our enhanced assisted living residences. His name is Brian Trezak. He is a contracted physician through a company known as Vantage Healthcare. Vantage Healthcare provides professional healthcare services to a variety of senior living and other healthcare rehabilitation facilities. And Dr. Trezak collaborates closely with our wellness clinic, nurse practitioners, our directors of nursing, as well as our quality department to make sure that our residents are being well cared for and that he's aware of our observations. In addition to that, we have several hospitals in the area, excellent hospitals, the most local of which is Exeter Hospital, which is just a few miles down the road. It's where most of our residents are going for procedures and certainly for emergency visits. Exeter Hospital is affiliated with Beth Israel Lahey Clinic out of Massachusetts. And then just up the road in Portsmouth, about a 25-minute drive, we have Portsmouth Hospital, who is known for their cardiac care. And then we also have Wentworth Douglas Hospital up in Dover, New Hampshire, which is about a 25-mile drive. And Wentworth Douglas Hospital is part of the Massachusetts General Provider Network. So beyond that, we're about an hour's drive to the Boston hospitals. So we really have some excellent options for both emergency as well as acute care within our area. So we're going through a little bit of a transition here with our healthcare strategy. Originally, when we built our three campuses, we put a healthcare lodge within each of the three campuses, each lodge providing assisted living apartments, long-term care, and memory support. And then one of our campuses at the Ridge also provides short-term rehab, and that serves residents from all three of our Exeter campuses. But we've had some challenges with this in the 30 plus years since we opened our community. I think everyone's aware of how much the healthcare landscape has changed. We're finding that it's getting a little more difficult for staffing. We are staffing currently 3 small healthcare centers, each with maybe 30 to 35 people in it, yet we need to provide 24/7 nursing care, which has some challenges. And we also have limited amenities in each of our 3 healthcare buildings, as well as older buildings that have limits on what kind of technology we can implement. So we have decided that we are going to transition to a centralized healthcare lodge. So plans are underway to centralize these 3 small lodges into a single hub. And so we will have one new healthcare building here within our community, within reach of each of our 3 campuses. That will allow us to streamline our clinical operations, improve the care coordination for our residents within healthcare, and enhance their access to services. So there will be a new building with robust amenities, including a fitness center, as well as a library and a hair salon and an auditorium. So it's going to be a really beautiful building. We're working through the approval deadline or approval timeline right now, but we're hopeful that we can break ground on this, hopefully by the end of 2026, and have something open either late 27 or early 28. What we'll be doing after that is in the space that was occupied, formerly occupied by the 3 healthcare lodges, we're actually going to be adding more independent living apartments. So our plan is to add about 75 apartments within those spaces that formerly occupied our healthcare lodges. So I'm going to transition now and talk a little bit about the services and amenities that would be included in your monthly service fee if you were living here in independent living. First of all, we have a super flexible dining program. I'll talk a little bit more on the next slide about how that works. Each of our 3 campuses has a fitness center and an indoor pool that residents at that campus can access. We have a variety of entertainment and cultural opportunities here, both on campus and off campus. Chrissy's going to talk a little bit more about that when it's her turn to present. We provide courtesy transportation to medical appointments, to groceries, banks, and other places as well. We provide housekeeping on a biweekly basis. So every other week, we're coming in to clean your apartment or your cottage. And then we also provide flat linen service on a weekly basis. We are laundering your sheets and your towels. We're taking care of any interior or exterior home maintenance. We're covering all of your utilities in terms of heating, air conditioning, water, electricity. And then we're also providing access to our wellness clinics. And lastly, all of our residences have an emergency response system and safety features built into them. Plus, we have a 24-hour security team on site here. So all of these services and amenities are included in your monthly service fee. So there would be no additional fees for these items. So we really pretty much take care of most everything you would need within that monthly service fee. Let's talk a little bit more about dining because that's such an important part of not only your well-being, but also your social experience within a community like RiverWoods. The way our dining program works is your monthly service fee will include a monthly bank of dining points that can be used in the dining room. Those points can be used for takeout meals, guest meals, catering, or even some perishable grocery items. So you will get a certain allotment of points each month. It's intended to cover one 5-course meal a day. But not everybody wants to eat a 5-course meal one sitting. So some people stretch out those points to cover perhaps a sandwich at lunch and an entree at dinner. So it's a very flexible program. We have restaurants at all 3 of our campuses, so you can use those dining points at any of the 3 campuses. And we try to be sensitive to residents' dietary preferences and restrictions. We have more and more people coming in who have a more higher level of awareness about foods that do and don't work for them personally. So we try to be as flexible as possible, including vegetarian choices. We are marking on our menus or noting on our menus things that are gluten friendly, items that are dairy free, as well as vegetarian. And we try to source as much as we can locally. The food services team are all employees of RiverWoods, and they're preparing a lot of food items from scratch, not everything, but as much as we can. And we try to source as much as we can from the local marketplace. We have a wonderful network of farmers here providing seafood, produce, and meat as well. So we try to keep it nice and fresh and local. This is a picture of one of our dining rooms at the Boulders campus. Beautiful dining room. All of our dining rooms will have nice high ceilings with fireplaces, plenty of windows and light coming in, very warm spaces. This is a picture of our bistro at the Ridge campus, which is more of a casual dining space. The bistro is unique in that it has both a casual dining space as well as a more formal dining room, which is located in the rear of this picture. So residents are welcome to come and eat in either of those spaces. They also have a beautiful outdoor patio at the Ridge for in nicer weather for residents to eat outdoors. We have wonderful access to grocery items here. This is a picture of the country store at the Woods campus where everything is purchased and priced at the same price you would pay at Market Basket. This store is run by residents who volunteer their time to do the purchasing and the stocking and the staffing. But it's really a wonderful convenience for our residents who may not want to go out to the grocery store to get one of these items. And we have many residents as they age who may never get to the grocery store because we're able to provide them between our dining room and what you see here, a pretty good variety of grocery items. The other two campuses also have country stores. They're a bit smaller than this, but you're welcome to shop at any of the country stores at any campus. I'm going to transition to Chrissy now, and she can fill you in on what there is to do here at Riverwoods, as well as what some of our apartments and cottages look like inside.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you all for joining us on this finally sunny and slightly warmer day here in Exeter, melting all of our current ice at the moment. So I'm going to take you through some of the activities we have here and looking at some of our apartments as we go along. The first slide that I'd like to show you is our Boulders Hall, which is our largest gathering space. It actually holds up to 200 people theater style. So our big events here, our big resident meetings all happen in this place. However, we do have large spaces for at all three campuses to accommodate our residents. And we host events such as lectures, performances, resident parties, concerts, lectures, so a wide array of events that happen here, including staff meetings as well. Some of the recent events we've held are, we've had political events here with political candidates during the primary season. We have authors often here, like authors like Dan Brown, one of our local authors here. And depending on the size of the event, we can host them here at the Boulders or at the Ridge or the Woods campus. Which leads me to talk about our education committee. And that committee is formed, it's an all-campus committee. So all three campuses, Woods, Ridge, and Boulders, residents are all involved. And their mission is to provide enrichment opportunities to all of our residents through educational programs, lectures, courses, and they cater to a wide variety of interests. We use both inside speakers, residents here, and outside speakers in the community. The events are all organized by this education committee. They work in tandem with our resident, our community, uh, I'm sorry, but they work with other members of our community to schedule the rooms and create these opportunities for our residents. Some of the examples you might see of some of the events that happen here. We have a musical lecture on the folk trio Peter, Paul, and Mary. We have sometimes offsite events where you can go to see the Boston Ballet or the Symphony Orchestra. And then we'll have programs such as a lecture on our New Hampshire bridges, which is a nice uh, event to see for local New Hampshire information. And any of you people who like to recycle out there, there's also very great informational programs on sustainability. Every one of our campuses has a library. So our Woods, Ridge, and Boulders campus all have libraries, well stocked. A wonderful place to go in the morning to read the newspaper if you still like to read a newspaper. And they are all connected by an electronic card catalog. So if you can't find a book where you live, you can usually find it at one of the other campuses, and our campus service vehicles will take the book and bring it over to you, or you can feel free to go over to the other library and explore there as well. As a member or as a resident of Exeter, you also benefit because you can enjoy the Exeter Town Library, which also has a variety of wonderful programs there to take advantage of. So once you're finished exploring the campus and the libraries and going to some events, it's a wonderful place to also be physically active. So there are so many opportunities here. If there's a certain thing you like to do, you'll find it here. You can feel free to work out in one of our fitness centers. We have indoor pools at each campus. We have hiking groups, cycling groups. We have people who like to walk the trails together here, over 4 miles of hiking trails here at RiverWoods Exeter. And when it snows, you can feel free to snowshoe as well. So we make it really easy for fitness here. As you can see, this picture is a photo of our boulders pool. So great for swimming laps, but also we have aqua aerobics classes, aqua volleyball that was started by one of our residents, which has become quite a popular event on Wednesday afternoons. And we do keep our pools pretty comfortable, anywhere between 84 to 88 degrees. So it's a wonderful place to be in the wintertime. And then, of course, if you are not interested in joining any of our fabulous classes, which we have many, Pilates, yoga, strength and balance, an eccentrics class, Zumba, we do have a cardio room, which includes cardio machines as well as weights. So you can do some weight training as well. And of course, we have 2 pickleball courts. So you're looking at a picture of 2 of our very happy pickleball players. And they're outdoor courts. So you often see our pickleball players out there in the summertime playing. They're always including any resident who would like to learn, and very encouraging of bringing new members in, as well as getting people to find a place in the wintertime to keep up their game. When you're finished exercising, don't forget about your creative side. So we have a lot of very nice rooms here to explore your artistic side, including a pottery studio and a variety of painting rooms and creative art space. You're looking at a picture here of one of our residents who had been an artist as a young man, and life got in the way. He was a busy person and had stopped painting. But as soon as he moved here, he was inspired by some of our artists that he had seen working every day. So you now see him at our Pinkham Art Studio every morning working on his craft. And here's a picture of the Pinkham Art Studio. So you can see that it's a really nice place to be if you like to paint, because there's a lot of beautiful natural light coming in. And in this picture, you can also see there are a lot of different activities that you can do here as well. In the foreground, there's a Nantucket basket that somebody's working on. And that has been something that was started from one of our original residents at the Woods who knew how to make Nantucket baskets. So they have been teaching residents ever since, and then teaching residents how to teach. So that has continued on, and we have many different shapes and sizes, and a weekly class for residents to learn how to weave. And of course, we have a large group of woodworkers with a wonderful wood shop at the Woods campus and at the Ridge campus. And they will go anywhere from, building signs for our trails. We have a very talented person who makes canoe paddles, cutting boards, wooden bowls, furniture with dovetailed connections. So very talented woodworkers. Whenever I'm doing a tour in the morning, I usually see one or two of them in there every morning. And then, of course, we have our musicians and our musical groups. So Riverwoods music is really important to us here as well. We have a Riverwoods chorus. If there are any men out there who like to sing, we need you. And we have a women's barbershop quartet. We have a string quartet. I think we might have somebody coming in the future with who's a trombone player. So we could really create a large band here if everybody wanted to connect. But it is we have a music room at the Woods. It's a nice place to gather, and very an encouraging place. And of course, Riverwoods residents and staff benefit from all of your talent because we usually hear you playing during the events that we have here. And then if there are any gardeners out there, I'm sure you're not doing too much right now. You've probably put your gardens to bed. But have no fear, there's a lot of gardening opportunities here at RiverWoods Exeter. We have raised garden beds throughout our campus that you can reserve either a whole or half raised garden bed for fruits and vegetables and flowers. And we have a very active garden committee who actually works alongside our landscaping team. Who are always exploring ways to become green, as green as we possibly can be. And they work alongside each other to put together some of our entry gardens. And also, we are very proud that we are one of New Hampshire's largest arboretums with over 300 species of trees and shrubs. So now I'm going to walk us through a couple of the different apartment and cottage styles that we have here. Talk a little bit about that. We have over 40 different floor plans across all three of our campuses. So I'll be showing you a few examples. But one of the features you'll see throughout is the beautiful solarium that we have in each apartment, which really lets in a lot of natural light into the living room and kitchen areas. And there is a solarium in every single apartment, regardless of size. The picture you're looking at here is one of our cottages. And so there's a lot of outdoor space that you can enjoy, especially if you're a gardener. You can actually put together some custom gardens and work with our landscapers to maintain your own special gardens if you live in a cottage. We all apartments and cottages have a fully equipped kitchen. We have individually controlled HVAC, air conditioning and heat. They're all Wi-Fi enabled. And of course, if you're in an apartment, we have storage areas for each apartment. And the community is equipped, as Lisa mentioned, with a 24-hour emergency response system. We also provide guest rooms if that's something you would be interested in, so that you don't have to have a pull-out couch in your apartment or an extra bedroom for visitors. They can use one of our guest rooms at any three of our campuses. And we do provide outdoor parking for all apartments with an option for covered parking at additional fee. Now we're moving on to one of our apartments. This is a Trillium one-bedroom at our large one-bedroom at our Woods campus. And in this picture, you can note in the background the beautiful solarium that's letting in that wonderful natural light, and also note some of the standard choices that you have, including the luxury vinyl plank in the common area there, and some neutral paint colors that you can choose from. And then if we keep going, looking into the kitchen of this Trillium, we have, if we are replacing cabinets, we're using white shaker style cabinets and stainless steel appliances with a choice of either quartz or granite on your countertops. And then moving along to our Ridge campus, you're looking here at our Magnolia apartment, which is a large 2-bedroom. Again, seeing some of the standard options. We are opening up our kitchens in the Magnolias and the Oaks and the Sycamores so that you really get you can really take advantage of that natural light coming in through that beautiful solarium. The next picture I love because it really showcases what you can do with your own apartment. Because of the, kind of standards that are very neutral colored that we offer, you can really bring in, your favorite pieces and make your apartment your own. Bring in what you've had in the past and really create a special home at your apartment here at Riverwoods. And then also looking at the kitchens at the in the cottages, you can see there's ample space if you love to cook, plenty of cabinet space for storage, and plenty of counter space if you like to bake and cook. A wonderful location there for baking cookies or pies. I know when you're coming to Riverwoods, you're not just looking at RiverWoods Exeter at our community. You're going to look beyond that. So we are in a fabulous location here in Exeter, right near downtown, a couple miles away. You're on 200 acres of property here, close to the Exeter River. And then you have easy access to both north and southern points, Portsmouth, Portland, about an hour from Portland. West, about just over half an hour to Manchester, and just about an hour to Boston. So you're in great proximity of all those nice cities. We're also very close to the seacoast, and we have great proximity to our mountains and lakes. So it's a great location. And if you've already started looking at us and looking at New Hampshire, you're probably already aware that we have great tax advantages here with no general sales tax, no personal income, no capital gains, and we are top ranked doing in the state and the third lowest tax burden in the country. So we have this slide just to show you a variety or a range of pricing. We have a range of apartment sizes and cottages. So anywhere from a studio, which is just under 600 square feet, to all the way to a large cottage, which is just over 2,300 square feet. Prices range for the first person entrance fee of about 250,000 to over $1 million. If you're looking at cottages. And then if you're a couple, you would add $64,000 to your entrance fee and $2,129 to your monthly service fee. And so as you can see, the first person is based on the size of the apartment, and then you just add the additional second person fee to that. If you are questioning right now whether Riverwoods would be a good financial fit for you, we've just added a new tool to our website, which you might want to check out, called Money Gauge. And you can explore just by answering a few easy questions, including your age and income and assets. It's a very secure site, and it would just give you an indication of whether Riverwoods would work for you, and perhaps what size apartment or cottage would work for you. But it's not an exact science, so it's just giving you an indication as to whether you'd like to move forward. So now, after hearing a little bit about what I've had to say and what Lisa's talked about in the beginning of the program, and you feel like you'd like to take the next step, Lisa's going to go over what it would be like to join our waitlist.
Great, thanks, Chrissy. So you're looking here at a picture of very enthusiastic bocce players at our Woods campus. We have bocce courts at both the Woods campus and the Ridge campus. We also have a horseshoe pit at our Woods campus, so we do love our outdoor games. Um, so the dress code for this particular group is striped socks. So they have a lot of fun kind of gathering and enjoying warm weather outdoor sports like this. So let's talk about if you were interested in coming to live at Riverwoods, you would need to first get on our wait list. So I'll talk a little bit about that process. Our estimated wait times right now range from about 3 years for a one bedroom up to 8 years for a large two bedroom or cottage. Um, and we keep a separate wait list for every style of apartment. So you might be on multiple wait lists here at RiverWoods Exeter, and we would just call you whenever something came up on any of those lists. If you were interested in applying to join the list, you would fill out our application, which we call a confidential data profile. And that would help us determine your financial qualification. When we qualify you financially, we're really looking at your financial position as of today, assuming that you would be moving in today, even though realistically we know you wouldn't be moving in for at least several years because we do have a wait list or waiting time. But once you are qualified to join the wait list, we would ask you to make a deposit. And we would ask you to deposit on the costliest apartment or cottage that you're qualified for and interested in being listed for. And the deposit amount would be 10% of that entry fee. So it's one fee you pay, and then you can be listed for multiple styles of apartments or cottages. And that entry fee would be applied to your, excuse me, that deposit would be applied to your entry fee when you move into the community. The deposit would earn 4% simple interest if you end up moving into the community. If you decide to leave the wait list, it would all be refunded except for a $1,500 cancellation fee. We do not pay the 4% simple interest if you leave the wait list. We pay 0.25% interest if you decide to leave the wait list and make other plans. The process is really flexible. You tell us when you're ready. If Chrissy or I were to call you before you felt you were ready, there's no penalty for you to say no at that time. If you've talked to other communities, every community has a little bit different process for managing their wait lists. Some people keep a ready list. We do not do that here. So it's very flexible, and we really work with you to try to figure out how we can have something for you when you feel you're ready to come here. So we're going to transition now to a few questions that most frequently get asked. Christy and I will walk through those answers to those questions, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. And again, if you do have a question, you can type it into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. But I would encourage you to wait until we get through the next four questions before you do put in a question. So I'm going to ask Chrissy to read and respond to the first one.
Sure. First question, I have a long-term care insurance policy. Can I use this at RiverWoods Exeter? So as Lisa mentioned earlier, we are considered a long-term care policy. So it's part of the services that we provide to you. It could be redundant, so you may not need it. But if you choose to keep your policy, you may file claims with your provider once you get into a higher level of care. Most often assisted living, nursing care. Sometimes they do provide in-home health care. They'll reimburse you for some in-home health care. So you can use it when you're here, but it can be redundant as well.
So the next question is, this applies to couples. So what happens if one partner in a couple needs a higher level of care? So typically we find that couples do not age at exactly the same pace. Typically one of them, their health may be starting to decline earlier than the other. We encourage people to stay in their independent living apartment as long as it works for them and they're safe. But sometimes it is appropriate for a partner with declining health to move to a higher level of care. So that would actually involve a physical move to a different apartment. If it were an assisted living level of care, it would be an assisted living apartment, which has a kitchenette, a living room, a bedroom, a bath, while the other healthier partner would remain in their independent living unit. In this case, you'd actually, as a couple, be occupying two different apartments, or one of you may actually be in a cottage, but you would be residing in two different residences, yet it's still covered by the same monthly fee as if you were occupying just one residence. And again, this gets back to the type A contract type that we have here at RiverWoods Exeter. There is just one additional fee that the person who moves into a higher level of care, whether that's assisted living or enhanced assisted living or memory care, anyone who moves into the healthcare residence would be getting 3 meals a day. So there is a fee of about $600 a month for the person who moves into healthcare because we're then providing 3 meals a day.
All right, I'll take the third question. Lisa, what if I'm not ready to move when you call me about an apartment? Do I go to the bottom of the list? And so, as Lisa mentioned before, and we go over this a couple of times in this webinar because it can be confusing, but it is a very flexible process here. If Lisa and I were to call you and you're not ready yet to come into an apartment that we have to offer you, it's just a phone conversation. If you tell us that you're not ready yet, we move down to the next person down the line at no penalty to you. And then if you happen to be interested, the first thing you would have to do is become financially qualified again and medically qualified before we actually show you the apartment. And once we do show you the apartment, that is when it is considered a formal offer. And if you decide against that apartment, it would be counted as one of your refusals, and you have 3 refusals before you go to the bottom of the list. But again, the phone call is no penalty to you at all if you say you're not ready. That's not considered an offer.
Okay, the next question is, how long do I have to move in once I am offered an apartment or cottage? So in general, you can expect between 60 and 90 days from the time we were to offer you an apartment or cottage until it's ready for occupancy. The entry fee is due at the time the apartment is completed, and that's when the monthly service fees begin as well. Now, typically, Chrissy and I have a heads up that something's going to be opening up before the current resident actually moves out of it. In that case, we're starting to call people on the wait list to try to give them as much advance notice as possible, because sometimes we call quite a few people on our list who just aren't ready to move in that window of time. So we try to get an early start on that when we have an inkling that something's going to be opening up. But you would have a minimum of 60 days from the time that we would offer you the apartment and or cottage. And an offer technically is, as Chrissy described it earlier, you have already been financially requalified, you have been medically qualified, you've come in for a health assessment. So that's kind of when that clock starts ticking. And it generally is taking us between 60 and 90 days to refurbish, 60 days to refurbish an apartment, and sometimes up to 90 days to refurbish a cottage. Got one more question here before we'll go to our Q&A submissions. So Chrissy, do you want to answer this one?
Sure, we get this question a lot. How can I be assured that RiverWoods is well managed financially? And I know you've probably seen terrible stories out there, so it is a question that's asked. But I can just say that RiverWoods has a 32-year history of responsible growth. We now see, we oversee now 3 not-for-profit communities in New Hampshire. We have earned an excellent reputation for financial strength. We have an A- Fitch rating. And our audited financials and a white paper on our financial budgeting philosophy can be found on our website. And you can certainly ask your sales counselor for the link to that if you have trouble finding it. But there's a lot of financial information on our website in particular. So if you want to delve into that, you'll learn a lot and you'll hear a lot from our CFO, Kevin Goyette.
Great. Okay, we're going to move on to questions now. And the first question that we have in our queue is from Jack. Can you address when I move to a different level of healthcare? Do I move from one apartment to another? And yes, Jack, I talked a little bit about this in my earlier explanation. When you need a different level of care, you are actually physically moving. So as I mentioned earlier, we have assisted living apartments that have kitchenettes in them, living room, bedroom, bath. We do have some two-bedroom assisted living apartments. So sometimes we have couples moving into those so they can move together. And then if you needed advanced care beyond that, we move you into a nursing suite in a different part of the building that has higher level of nursing services provided.
All right, the next question from Michael, is cable available? Yes, actually, every one of our apartments and cottages it has cable television in it. It is a slight extra charge on your monthly service fee for cable television, about $45 a month, and for 2 boxes in your apartment. And of course, we have Wi-Fi as well, which is available in all of our apartments, and you have your own individual Wi-Fi. And that's $14 a month.
Next question from Pat asks if dining points can be carried over from month to month. Pat, thank you for asking this because I didn't really get into much depth on the dining point plan. Yes, if you don't use all your dining points in a particular month, they will be carried over to the next month up to a certain maximum amount. If you end up traveling either on a short vacation or seasonally you're away, you can actually drop down to a lower level of dining plan. We have 4 different levels of dining plans here. And if you are changed to a lower level of plan, you actually get a credit on your monthly bill for the points that you're not using.
The next question is from Pat. Can residents recycle paper, plastic, glass, and metal? We have a great recycling program here. All of our trash rooms have single stream recycling with beautiful signs to tell you what we do accept and what we do not. We have a wonderful group committee here called it's a sustainability and a recycle committee called the Rescue Committee. They were instrumental in getting our dining rooms to use only compostable containers. So we also compost the containers once you're finished with those. And our kitchens also compost our food waste. We have a company that comes in and takes that. So we have a lot of recycling and environmental programs that happen here that keep us, decreasing our footprint in the world.
Thanks, Chrissy. The next 2 questions are really around medical qualifications. So before we can offer you a residence in independent living, we need to make sure that that's the appropriate level for you in terms of making sure that you would be safe in your independent living apartment. So we do conduct a clinical consultation with one of our nurse practitioners here. And it's really, she's doing a cognitive assessment, a mobility assessment, and then, having a conversation with you about living in independent living. Sometimes we find that between the time somebody joins our wait list for independent living and the time we actually offer them something or they're ready to come here, sometimes their health may decline and independent living may not be appropriate for them at that point. We are able to sometimes offer people direct admission into assisted living in those cases. It is a different contract type, but because you would have been on the wait list for independent living, you can get priority placement into assisted living if we have capacity here at RiverWoods Exeter. We also do take people directly into our Durham community, directly into assisted living. So that is always an option. But the medical eligibility for independent living is, as I described, there's a cognitive assessment and there's a mobility and balance assessment to make sure that independent living is appropriate. Chrissy, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, I'll take Phil's question. What happens if a person exhausts his or her financial resources while a resident is while you're here? First I will say that when we assess you financially for affordability, we are very careful to make sure that we are certain that you can afford the apartment or cottage you're moving into. But if something circumstances happened where at no fault of your own, you lived until you were 110 and ran out of your assets. First, we would delve into your 90% refundable portion of your contract and use that amount to pay for your monthly service fee. And if that were exhausted, then we do have a benevolence fund here that is funded by our residents, which would mean that at any time you were here, you would not be asked to leave if your monthly service fee would be paid for by that benevolence clause.
Great. Thanks, Chrissy. Enhanced healthcare, we mentioned earlier. Those are limited services offered Monday through Friday during business hours. We do charge by the hour, so we would bill you for that. I actually think we bill in 15-minute increments. I think currently it's around $37 an hour, maybe. So it's pretty inexpensive, but we have many residents, not many, but we have some residents here that find it quite helpful, and it helps them stay in independent living longer than they might otherwise without that support.
And Betsy is wondering how noisy pets are dealt with. So as you know, we are pet friendly. We love our dogs and our cats here. However, you are expected to be a good neighbor, and your pets are expected to respect the community as well. So we do require all dogs to be on a leash when they're walking through the community, even on the walking trails. They're not allowed in the dining rooms. And if you did happen to have a pet that was a barker, we would first try everything we could before we would ask your pet to leave. But in terms of training that you could have for your pet, some people might purchase a bark collar or something like that. But it would not be tolerated for your other neighbors that live nearby. So you would just have to be a very respectful pet owner.
So we have a question from Lita about does the application include a specific community request, and what are the different personalities of the three communities? So the application would cover any of the floor plans here at RiverWoods Exeter across our three campuses. So we would let you know what the maximum level price point wise is that you would be qualified for. It's Chrissy's and my role to really work with you to determine which of the three campuses might be the best fit for you. They do all have a different personality. They all have different floor plans and different sizes of apartments. So that's something that your sales counselor would work with you on to determine what may be the most appropriate fit for you.
The next question from Betsy, if an ambulance comes, can you go to Wentworth Douglas? If an ambulance does come, they're going to take you to the Exeter Hospital, which is the closest hospital. But you can still have doctors at Wentworth Douglas and have care given there, but the ambulance would take you to Exeter.
Okay, Christy, I'm just going to knock off the next
Sure.
couple because we're getting tight on time. Saltwater pool, yes. Each campus has a pool. They are all saltwater pools. And then are there garages for vehicles? Yes, we have a variety of covered parking options. We have detached garages at all three campuses. We have garages within the buildings at the Ridge and the Boulders, and then we also have some carports at our campuses. What other organizations in the USA credit your CCRC? I'm actually not sure of the answer to this question, Stephen. If there were a particular organization you'd like to ask about, we could check into it. But CARF is the one that we are proud of because that accredits rehabilitation facilities, of which we are one. So it's an important measure of the quality of care, healthcare that you would receive at Riverwoods. Christy, you want to take the next one?
Yes, extra person, entrance fee is 64,000. The monthly fee for the second person would be 2,129. And that would be on your price sheet, which we'd be happy to get to you if you would like one.
Great. Are there any residents on the board? Yes, we do have residents who sit on our CCRC board. They are, I believe, nominated by local residents. So we do have definitely resident representation on the board.
And
We did not.
I did
We
not
did.
show you a studio on this presentation, but we do have some 360 photos of a variety of different apartments. So what I will do is have your sales counselor reach out to you, and if you have any requests, we can talk about emailing you some things and some extra information.
Great. So we're going to just wrap up with a couple more here. Mark has a question about the deposit. You are paid simple interest at the end of the deposit period, Mark, because we're not sure if you're moving in or not. And I think given there's kind of some more depth to your questions, Mark, than we have time for on this presentation, but we'll make sure that either Chrissy or I follow up with you on that. I think actually we're going to need to wrap this up. We'll follow up with the rest of these questions with you directly. We do have an electric vehicle charger here. I know that's often a popular question. But we try to keep these presentations to an hour, so we'll follow up with the rest of the questions directly with those who asked. We appreciate your time today. We hope this has been helpful. Chrissy and I will be following up with you because each of us has been assigned to you and want to make you aware of one event we have coming up next month, the end of February. We have a webinar on downsizing. So every year we do a downsizing event. It's very popular with people. So encourage you to go to our website and register for that. And we thank you for joining today and look forward to connecting with those of you who decide you want to come see us. Have a great day.
Thank you.